I got invited to Cod Next, where I got the chance to play Black Ops 6 early, multiplayer, zombies, and Warzone. So in today's video, we're going over the truth about Black Ops 6, the good, the bad, and the ugly of what's to come. You know, what are the positive changes coming with Black Ops 6, and what are some things that they still need to look at and fix and improve upon before launch day. Now, we're going to cover multiplayer for a little bit here before we get into Warzone, because multiplayer creates that base, and it very much carries over into Warzone. Now, starting off here, let's talk omni movement, and I'm going to talk about omni movement from a multiplayer perspective, and then I'm also going to talk about it from a Warzone perspective. The first thing that I want to say about omni movement, does it create a skill gap? Absolutely. But with that being said, in my opinion, it was very easy to pick up on. It was very natural to pick up on. You might see videos and streamers out there who are using it, and you might be thinking like, hey, I'm an average player, I'm an above average player. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to get the hang of it. It felt very easy to do. And in multiplayer, it felt extremely fluid. Basically, you can do whatever you want in any direction. You can slide cancel forward and jump backwards. You can dolphin dive left. You can slide cancel right. There's so many different combinations. And what they're looking to do is make it seamless. And I very much felt this in multiplayer. You can just combine movements, and instead of having a start stop and then you gotta, like, start again, it felt very continuous. You slide and then you keep moving, and then you jump peek a corner and slide out, and then you keep moving. A lot of different combinations. Now, do I think that every single player is going to be able to master omni movement? No. Do I think there's levels to omni movement that you're going to be able to use? Absolutely. You might be really good at jump peeking a corner and sliding out. Maybe you're not good at dolphin diving out because you have to have the hybrid setting on. That's okay. One of the biggest things they reiterated to us is multiple play styles. So if you want to master omni movement and become a movement demon, you can do that. If you want to use omni movement to your advantage, but also sometimes play a little bit slower, play a little bit more strategic, you can do that. If you want to sit in a corner or sit in the back of a map and snipe, you can do that as well. Their whole goal is to have omni movement, have it be fluid, have it be an option, but not necessarily put you in a position where you absolutely have to use it, or else you are just going to get smoked the whole game. So that's their goal with it. I do think there's going to be a skill gap with it as well, but I want to talk more about omni movement in Warzone as well, because it's totally different. Multiplayer overall felt great, guys. It feels, and it 100% is a Black Ops game. It is a Treyarch game. It feels a little bit like Cold War with advanced movement. Obviously, we didn't get to play a ton of maps, but the maps that I played, I actually did have fun on. The TTK felt pretty good. The gunplay felt good. The weapons felt fun to use. Obviously, we don't have the meta or anything, so maybe I wasn't using meta options, and the TTK was too fast with the meta gun. But overall, for me, I had fun. I would have kept playing it, which I don't say very often with multiplayer. I absolutely could have kept playing that multiplayer game mode. Now, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about Warzone, because Warzone is interesting. Warzone is an alpha, okay? Let's get that out there first and foremost. They were very upfront that Area 99 is an alpha build, okay? So we're not even in the beta version of Area 99 yet. And to be honest with you, it felt like it. Movement felt clunky. Okay, for me personally, the way I kept describing it was when I was using omni movement and chaining together movements, I felt good. I felt like I could move around the map. I felt fluid. I felt seamless. The moment I stopped, though, I felt like I couldn't move. I felt like I was just stuck, and it was hard to get going again. Whereas what we have right now on Rebirth Island and, in Warzone is it's very easy to continue going, right? We slide cancel and then we keep moving. It just didn't feel like that in Warzone. Now, there's a few different things that could attribute to that I do want to address. Number one, we didn't have the ability to create loadouts. So we didn't have double time, which I think is going to be a huge advantage. We also didn't fully understand how to utilize the infinite tack sprint with melee, which once again is going to create a skill gap. When we look at the infinite tack sprint with melee, you're going to hold your melee button, and when you have that knife out, you have infinite tack sprint. Now, I would like to see them speed it up just a little bit, where you are moving a little bit faster. I felt just a little bit slow when I did have it out, but overall, that's going to be one of the biggest advantages, is understanding when to have your knife or when to just try to get away with your gun. So we have that ability to use infinite tack sprint with, the melee. We have the ability to have double time once we get the full integration, which we did not have with the alpha build. So that could absolutely contribute to the clunkiness feeling of it. But like I mentioned, it just felt like it was a little bit tougher to get going at times. Now, when we talk about Area 99, there's a few different things that need to be addressed. First things first, 10 POIs, 45 players. Timing wise, it's the same as Rebirth Island, okay? That's important to understand because Vandal's longer, Fortune's Keep's very similar. And in my opinion, it plays very similar to a combination of Rebirth and Fortune's Keep. So a lot of close quarters engagements because you're going to be in the buildings, you're going to be finessing, but you're going to get punished on rotations the same way you do on Fortune's Keep. There is cover, but there also are areas in the map and times that you can just get caught completely out in the open with no cover, and there's really nothing that you can do. So that's the way that I kind of looked at Area 99. I think the most important thing is going to be the color palette. They've got to just move away from this dull desert type map that look like Rebirth Island is great, Fortune's Keep is great. The best color palette that we've ever had is probably Vandal, just because there were so many different colors. It was so vibrant. I love Rebirth Island with the different times of day, having the nighttime, the sunset, the daytime, like those things make a huge difference. And I hope they at least make it a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more fun, a little bit more color than this. It's not a Sheikah Island, right? It's not as dull as a Sheikah where it was like overcast and it was dreary. You know what I mean? Like Area 99 still has a dynamic to it. That's okay. But they definitely need to kind of look at that color palette and see what they can do with it. I think that's going to be a make or break in terms of how much people are going to play it and how much they enjoy playing it. I think that's a huge component of Rebirth Island, especially because Area 99 and Rebirth, same player count, same timing, all that stuff. Let's talk about, we talked about omni movement a little bit in Warzone with that kind of fluidity. Same movements that we have the ability to do. They're really keeping the core movement one-to-one with multiplayer. So everything you can do in multiplayer, you can do in Warzone as well. But they're really trying to, I hope they take a look at kind of that fluidity of it and how they can really make that better. Few different things that I do want to talk about when it comes to that fluidity as well. Faster usage of stims. I didn't get to experience this myself, but they did mention it, that stims, the ability to pop a stim quicker. Not 100% sure about the speed boost or anything like that, but you are going to have the ability to just use a stim much quicker. They also talked about more fluid zip lines. They said you don't necessarily move faster on the zipline, but getting on and off the zipline is a much quicker animation. So, we won't have to really be jumping off ziplines as much. We'll see how quick it is, but overall, they said they are looking to make everything just a little bit easier and a little bit more fluid. When we talk about two dynamics here, two of the biggest questions that I've received thus far, does slide canceling reset tack sprint? It does not, okay? So slide canceling does not reset your tack sprint, just like it doesn't right now, but we'll still have double time as a perk, and we do have that infinite tack sprint that we can use with melee. So that's something that we are going to have to take advantage of and start to use more often, is having that melee, or understanding that we can use that to our advantage to be faster than enemies and really start to outplay them. Number two, mouse and key. I'm going to tell you guys right now, this is your year to switch to controller. You are going to find it very difficult to track enemies who are using omni movement to your advantage. I'm going to be straight up with you guys. It's going to be really difficult. Aim assist felt very similar on controller. Didn't feel too much of a difference there. So mouse and key players, if you're struggling now, it's only going to get worse. Omni movement for you is not going to make up for the fact that it's going to be very difficult to track enemies. As always, guys, link to aim controllers down in the pinned comment below. You can check it out. Use code CUPOFJOE. Officially licensed PlayStations and Xbox controllers if you are interested in a controller with paddles. Now let's talk about loadouts. Like I said, guys, we didn't have the ability to create our loadout. We were stuck with kind of the default options, but there are a few major things, kind of 4 bullet points that I want to cover here with loadouts. Number 1, weapons. They put a massive emphasis on creating a more healthy meta each season. They understand that the game can get dull and boring when you only have the option to use the STG and the static, and like there's no other options that you can use. They want to create a healthy meta each season. This isn't the first time that we've heard this. I hope it's the last time that we've heard this, where like we can just move forward now having healthy metas where we have 3 or 4 different ARs, we have 3 or 4 different SMGs, we've got a sniper in the mix, maybe an LMG. We have a lot of different options. And, you know, I will add on top of that real quick, 12 brand new weapons that we're seeing in Black Ops 6 that we've never seen before in Call of Duty. So I just want to highlight that's a pretty cool thing that they're bringing. But when we talk about a healthy meta, attachments do not have cons. There's some that do, but for the most part, attachments don't have cons. So one of the biggest things in Warzone right now, and why we're all stuck like, hey, everybody is using the quartermaster suppressor. Everybody is using this underbarrel, you know, the paracorder. You know, there's not a ton of options that you have. Why? Because it's like, oh, I need the mobility. It's the recoil trade-off. Like, you know, there's only so many different combinations that you have right now because of those trade-offs in particular. The attachments don't have many trade-offs. So you might have a huge increase to your movement speed and a huge increase to your ADS movement speed with no con to your recoil control like you would have currently. So I think not only is it going to, hopefully do they create a healthy meta, but on top of that, hopefully there's a ton of different options you can run build-wise simply because those attachments don't have cons. So if you want to run a low recoil build, you can do that. If you want to run a max mobility build, you can do that. You don't really have to trade stuff off. That also brings me to this point of wildcards. So they're looking at wildcards as, you know, significant loadout modifiers. Now, I think one of them is going to be completely broken. One of those wildcards is overkill, okay? So 2 primary weapons, just like you have right now, AR, SMG, sniper, SMG, but it's not a given perk to you anymore. Right now, we just have the ability to run overkill, okay? Now it's going to be a choice. Do you want to go AR, SMG, or AR with gunfighter and a pistol? Now, gunfighter here, you think it's an easy answer. Oh, why would I not want an AR SMG? Gunfighter gives you the ability to equip 8 attachments, okay? So think about that. Not only can, and 8 attachments with attachments that don't have cons. So now all of a sudden, we can create an AR that has, or an LMG, that has really good range, really good bullet velocity, really good mag size, you know, really good recoil control, still have good mobility with a good ADS time. That gunfighter perk is going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. Now, I had not played around with this too much, but apparently you could actually buy your 8 attachment primary with $2,500, which if that's the case, that is completely broken. Now, I heard somebody else tell me, no, it was $6,000. If you have gunfighter equipped, they better make sure that it's more expensive, or else that is going to be one of the most broken things in this game. I mean, imagine you get a loadout and then you go with gunfighter, so you have your AR, you have a pistol, you have your perks, which we'll talk about perks here in a little bit, and then you have gunfighter, so you have an 8 attachment primary, and then you go buy your 8 attachment secondary for $2,500. That is a completely broken loadout. So I really hope that they make it more expensive, make it a little bit tougher to buy, where at the very least, if you buy both your primary and your secondary, it should be pretty close to a loadout, if not more expensive, because of what you're getting with it. So that's kind of the how the weapons work. That's how the wild card works. Let's talk about perks, because perks are going to be a little bit different here. There's going to be some overpowered perks, in my opinion. There's also, we are going back to lootable perks, which is a good place to start. You know, we're going back to 6 perks are going to be in ground loot that you can find across the map, and they stack. So if you have your loadout and you grab lootable perks, they stack on top. Hypothetically speaking, let's say you have your loadout perk package and you find Combat Scout on the ground. You now have your loadout perk package plus Combat Scout. There's also going to be 2 perks that are ground loot exclusive. So you cannot equip them in your loadout, but you can find them in ground loot. I think one of them might be irradiated early on, which I love this change. If you are subscribed, you know, I don't think Irradiated is a good perk right now. A lot of you guys are going to call me out in the comments for this, but Irradiated literally only applies to like 5% of the game when like gas is actually an issue. So all of a sudden now we have the ability to find Irradiated on the ground. Now it gets a little bit more interesting because we find that, and now we have a huge advantage during that end game. So 6 perks in ground loot, 2 perks are going to be ground loot exclusive, but the most important thing, going back to what they're really looking to do throughout this entire year, is keep everything fresh, keep everything fun. They are going to be rotating the ground loot perks and the exclusive ground loot perks throughout the year. So those perks are going to be changing. One time it might be combat scout, might be high alert, might be double time, and that doesn't mean you could have double time in the 6 perks that are in ground loot where you can find it early game and still equip it with your loadout, whereas the ground loot exclusive means you cannot put it in your loadout. So that's going to be a really good change. Just a few quick notes. Specialist is still going to be in Warzone, so we're still going to have the ability to get Specialist and give ourselves that huge advantage if we can get our hands on it. We don't know how we're going to get it yet, but Specialist is still going to be in Warzone. I do want to note this. They did not say whether it's going to be in Resurgence, though. So I don't know if that's across the board or if it's just going to be Battle Royale. Although since it's on Rebirth Island right now, my guess is that it's going to be in Area 99 as well. Return to the pick 3 system. So right now we have 4 perks. They are going back to 3 perks. It's going to be the pick 3 system. You're going to have different play styles, different perks that you can choose, going back to pick 3. 18 total perks. 5 are going to be new, but most importantly, they're going to design perks around play styles, okay? Now, the biggest thing here, some underused perks are going to be combined together. Tracker and Combat Scout are going to be combined. So that might be a pretty overpowered perk to give you the ability to run Tracker and Combat Scout as well. Few other major things that we want to talk about here. Revised inventory. Backpack is gone forever. No more backpacks. We're back to the normal inventory system where you're just going to have plates. If something's full, you're not going to have the ability to stow it. So you're not going to open up your backpack and be like, oops, I didn't mean to do that. You can't stow perk packages. We are back to the original inventory system, which I think is a huge change. I like the backpack. There were definitely times where I hated it. I like the concept that you could stow like an extra self-revive or an extra, kill streak or, extra whatever it may be. But I'm also okay going back to that normal inventory system. There's also going to be satchels in game, and you can hold 2 satchels. You can hold one for armor and one for ammo, which gives you the ability to pick up additional armor and ammo, but it's just armor and ammo, right? You can't pick up an additional kill streak or an additional self-revive. It's strictly for armor and ammo. Let's talk about some new and returning gameplay features. They are going to have body shield with prox chat. This one's super cool, where you have the ability to grab your enemy from behind. You basically use them as a shield, but most importantly, you will have the ability to talk to them while you are doing it, which is going to be a very interesting change. It's also just going to be a ton of fun to be able to prox chat with people as you are holding them, using them as a shield to maybe kill their teammates. They also talked about audio improvements. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. This is still a concern of mine. I died multiple times to people running on metal stairs. I know a lot of you guys aren't going to want to hear this. It's definitely super frustrating, but I died a few different times where I should have had footsteps and I just absolutely did not hear somebody. So they mentioned that they made audio improvements. This is still a major concern of mine and something that they absolutely need to take a look at. 2 other big things: new kill streaks and no mosquito drones or guardians. So there's 2 new kill streaks coming to Warzone, and they're removing mosquito drones and guardians. I think that's a W across the board. The guardians were super annoying to deal with. The mosquito drones were the worst thing in the world. Like, you hear that thing beeping in your ear and you're like, this is about to be bad. Like, I hope I don't get shot right before or else I'm dead. So I'm glad they're removing those mosquito drones, kind of listening to community feedback there, saying, hey, these aren't really doing a whole lot for the game. Let's go ahead and take them out. Quality of life is something that they're really focusing on with Warzone. They gave us a slide with like a ton of quality of life changes, like more than I could even write down. Here is what I got written down. weapon rarity outlines. You've probably seen this in the gameplay that I've shown you thus far, where now guns on the ground, and you can see it from a pretty good distance, are showing you the rarity of the weapon. So you're able to see kind of from a, 10, 15 meters away what level that gun actually is and whether you want to actually go explore picking it up or not. They are actually adding in the ability to pick up a self-revive while in a downed state. What does that mean? Basically means if you are fighting a team and you wipe them, they drop all the loot around you, you get third-partied from 50 meters away, you can crawl over to a self-revive, pick it up, and then use it, which I think is a really good change, especially for you people who are, playing solos, solo duos, solo trios, solo quads, where you don't always have that teammate who can revive you. Now you have that option to crawl over to a self-revive, pick it up, and then use it. Downed enemies don't trigger high alert anymore. There's nothing more annoying than you get it down, you're looking around, trying to figure out if a teammate's close by. Meanwhile, you're getting high alerted from the guy who you just downed, and you have no idea whether his teammate's close or not. So they are no longer going to down you when you're, trigger that high alert when you are down. Bounty threat level now has a sound cue. So we have it in that left side of the screen where we have yellow, orange, and red. We can see that, but there's also going to be a sound cue, which is a little bit nice, letting us know, hey, they are close. So even if we're in a gunfight, we might be able to hear that sound cue knowing that they're coming to third party, and we've got to actually be aware of that. Med cabinets, there's going to be loot drop improvements. They didn't go into what exactly that's going to look like. Obviously, right now, with the ability to pull a stim and a self-revive, they are very good, but they are going to be looking at those loot drop improvements for med cabinets, and live ping duration is going to be decreased, so they don't live ping as long. Let's talk about prestige. This is one of the biggest questions that I had going into Cod Next with the devs, saying what is prestige going to look like in Warzone, because we know what it looks like in multiplayer, right? You get to level 55, you enter prestige, and then you lose everything. You get your permanent unlock, so you can unlock your favorite weapon permanently, you can unlock, a perk permanently, something, you get that permanent unlock, and then you go back to level 1, you get some exclusive rewards for it, but you go back to level 1 and you got to unlock everything. How does it work with Warzone? The exact same way. And here's what the devs told me. They told me and said, it's supposed to be risky. It's supposed to be dangerous. It's supposed to be like, hey, I'm going to have to make a sacrifice here to get this reward and kind of go to that next level if I really want to. You don't have to do it. You can sit at level 55. Keep in mind, nobody is going to be above level 55. So it's not like you're going to be level 55 and somebody else is going to be level 927. Everybody maxes out at level 55 except for the people who are master prestige and all the way up to that point, which who knows how quick somebody's going to get there. But keep in mind that everybody's going to be level max 55. So it's not like if you stay prestige 1 that, you're going to be feeling like somebody's 900 levels above you. You're going to feel like, okay, I'm prestige 1. I still have everything unlocked. But they said it's supposed to be dangerous. It's supposed to be a little bit risky. I think there's going to be some strategy involved with it. Like, what do you permanently unlock? If there happens to be a gun that is super meta and you do want to prestige, like you might want to permanent unlock that, you might want to permanently unlock double time, like a lot of different options. There's a lot of strategy with it, but I did want to address that because 55 levels, 10 prestiges, permanent unlocks are back, but it applies the exact same way to Warzone. Now, what I will say, multiplayer zombies and Warzone cross, it's a global system. So you can go absolutely prestige and prestige, right? And then you go back to multiplayer for the first 10 levels, then you jump back into Warzone once you have some stuff unlocked. So there is that way to go about it. That's probably the way a lot of people will, and then you go back into Warzone and you keep playing the way you would. You also don't have to prestige. That's totally okay. You can absolutely stay prestige 1, level 55, and just have access to everything. Mastery camos. This is something that we've never seen before. 4 unique mastery camos in multiplayer, 4 unique mastery camos in zombies, and brand new 4 unique mastery camos in Warzone. Now, we don't know what the challenges look like. Here's what we do know. In the mastery camo grind right now, you have to level up your gun to max level to then get that last camo to then unlock the ability to get gold, at which point it goes from there. Camos have no level requirement. It is straight challenges. So especially with prestiging and everything, and I'm not 100% how that all works. The camos might actually carry over with your prestige. They actually should now that I think about it. But you know, camos don't have a level requirement. I guess with prestiging, if you go back to level 1 and your guns are minimum level again, you can still camo grind them as you are leveling up your prestige again. So that is a good change right there. Camos have no level requirement. It's just going to be challenges, but Warzone is going to have mastery camos. Let's talk about the future of Warzone right here, okay? This is where we're going to finish up, the future of Warzone. Biggest things. Number 1. Area 99. We've already talked about it. I'm super excited. I don't know if I mentioned this with Area 99. They did not give any insight into the future of Rebirth Island, Fortune's Keep, or Vandal. They did not say whether they're getting vaulted, whether they'll still be around, whether they're going to be in rotation. They gave us no insight whatsoever. And just because I even mentioned the word vaulted doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen, okay? We have absolutely no idea what that's going to look like. If I had to guess from experience, we're probably going to get Area 99 exclusive for like a week or two, and then they'll go back into rotation between the different maps, and people can play what they want to. That's my guess. I have absolutely no insight. They gave us nothing. Number 2, BR ranked. Notice I said BR there. Resurgence ranked is no longer a thing as of mid-season, as of season 1. When the integration happens, Resurgence ranked is going away. Mid-season 1, big map ranked is coming back. I know that's a W for a lot of people across the board. A lot of people that I know, especially in this community, are like, hey, you know, I like Resurgence ranked, but like this is really a big map thing. I'd rather play big map rank. It feels more rewarding. It feels like there's more strategy involved. So BR ranked is coming mid-season 1. And of course, guys, we all know the news, although a lot of you guys are new to Warzone and didn't necessarily get to enjoy it, but Verdansk is coming back. Spring 2025, Verdansk is coming back. I'm super excited. It'll be nice to get back on the map. I'm excited to see what they do with it. Obviously, you know, the early rumors were that it was sooner, but it's got pushed. It got pushed for whatever reason. I'd rather them make it right and make it really good than try to rush it out and just please us with the timeline. So I'm glad they're taking a little bit longer to get it out. And then from there, I'm nervous. Okay? And here's why. When you think towards nostalgia, okay? You think towards nostalgia. I'm excited for Black Ops 6 in general. Don't get me wrong. I think it's going to be a great game. You can play the way you want to play. Obviously, some things they need to improve. I think omni-movement is going to be a ton of fun. That fluidity, that fast pace, if you want it. My concern is this. They've played the Rebirth Island nostalgia card. They played the Fortune's Keep nostalgia card. Fortune's Keep's back. Woohoo. They played the Rebirth Island nostalgia card. Rebirth Island's back. They've played the Car 98 nostalgia card. Car 98's back. Now they're playing the Verdansk nostalgia card. Rightfully so. They 100% should. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy Area 99. I'm going to teach you guys how to get better. I'm going to have a ton of fun. I'm going to be coaching on a lot of different maps. What happens after Verdansk? I have no idea. That might be 2025, and then they got to figure it out then. We still have a ton of time until we get there, guys. I'm sure that they'll probably do some Verdansk Resurgence, which I said, guys, as we finish this up, I told them, I said, if you do Verdansk Resurgence, it has to be Scrapyard, Storage Town, and Superstore. That has to be your Resurgence map right there. I think that'd be an incredible Resurgence map in and of itself with the Verdansk nostalgia. So who knows? I'm sure they'll do a Verdansk Resurgence map of some sort. We shall see. But guys, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Obviously, we have 2 beta weekends here. Then we have a month and a half off. Then we have the Black Ops 6 drop, which I'm super excited about. Overall, if you made it this far, thank you so much. Multiplayer, 8 out of 10. 7. I'll give it a 7.8. It's definitely higher than a 7.5. I don't know if it's quite an 8 just yet, strictly because we haven't played all the maps. We only played, like, I think I played 5 maps. I think I played 5 maps at Cod Next. So, you know, we haven't played all the maps yet. We haven't gotten access to everything just yet. We don't know what the meta weapons are, what that true TTK is going to feel like. So, not 100% sure just yet. 7.8. Warzone, I'm going to go on the lower end here. I'm going to go an even 7. I think there's changes. I, again, think that We didn't get a full sense of the meta. The the mid to long range TTK at times felt a little long. The close range TTK felt good. It did feel, it felt actually good. It feels like you got rewarded with a headshot. There were times where it was quicker. There were times where it was a little bit slower. So it'll be interesting to see how that TTK dynamic plays out once we know what the meta weapons are and whether it's way too fast or it's not fast enough. So I'm gonna go 7.1 overall, guys. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. As I always say, let's get better today, and I will see you tomorrow.